I want to salute all the B-boys and B-girls that will be going to Paris for the first time having breaking in the Olympics.
Olympics.
So salute to the
Oh, that's
B-boys
big.
and B-girls.
Yeah.
They'll
That's
be
big.
rocking, celebrating,
Yes.
representing their countries. For hip-hop, that's big.
That's
For
big
us
for
as
hip-hop.
B-boys that started with our foundation as dancers, as B-boys, the breaking culture has always been part of our DNA.
Non sai cosa succede? Easy link in bio. Cadi nella mia rete con il link in bio. Russell, Jimmy, Dre, Lior. Forse trovi su S con il link in bio.
Ciao a tutti, state guardando Link in Bio. Io sono Mondo Marcio e oggi abbiamo il grande onore di avere con noi i Black Eyed Peas.
Wow.
Sono veramente felice di avere con noi i Black Eyed Peas. So guys, great to have you here. It's such an honor to have you guys here. So thank you for joining my podcast. Really appreciate you guys for being here today. Thanks. So the topic of the day is basically putting labels on music. Categorizing art, and labeling different genres and basically, like separating different genres into subgenres and such, which is, I think, very accurate when it comes to you guys, because all throughout your career, you've made such, beautiful mixes between different genres, and, like between rap and pop and R&B, even rock, and I don't know, like Brazilian music, like you name it, right? Which is beautiful, and the genius part of it, when it comes to you guys, is that it all made sense. Like it all sounded like genuine and real. So, what's your take on that? What's your take on like putting different labels on music and genres? What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I want to say what's up to all the Italian fans. Thank you for supporting us. It's an honor to be on your podcast. Thank you very much. So we come from a background of hip hop foundation. We were inspired by Tribe and De La Soul, the Native Tongues, which sampled a lot of bossa nova, Sergio Mendes, jazz, Cal Jader, to freaking Miles Davis.
That's
you
so
name
true.
it. So for us, it's always been experimental. Experimenting with different frequencies, different sounds, whatever we're inspired by, whether it's jazz, hip hop, R&B, soul, rock, even Latin rhythms. Because for me, as a Mexican American kid, I grew up with a lot of Latin rhythms in Los Angeles. So being immersed in that, and then Apple coming from the Philippines, he brings the Filipino instrumentation and sounds that he grew up with. will.i.am being from East LA, hearing a lot of Latin rhythms as well, but our foundation has always been hip hop.
Right.
So having all that mosaic of sound and frequency is something that we embody, we appreciate it, and we always want to push the envelope of inspiration and things that we're inspired by.
Yeah,
Indeed,
no,
did that.
growing up in LA, we were exposed to like different type of like music genres, Even in hip hop, there was like your Far Side, which is like about dancing, like hip hop, graffiti, and then you would listen to NWA, which is gangster music, you know what I mean? So being exposed like that, and then we used to go out to like open mics with live bands, and you would freestyle over that, and that's what kind of like inspired us to like, oh, you know what, we could take sampling to the next level. We could make our own samples now,
Yeah.
And then so when we would approach like different music genres to like house music, we kind of like approach it like how you would approach a sample, like hip hop. Like how would I rock to this?
Right.
What's the cadence? Like
Right.
if it's too like even with the body movement, right? If it's too quirky, like I don't know, it doesn't have the hip hop thing feel to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you always add hip hop in whatever music genre, and you try to like find that like that formula to make it like fit. you
It's
know?
crazy. I didn't think about that, but it's so clear. Like it's so hip hop to actually like sample different genres.
Yeah.
It's the most hip hop thing that you can do.
The essence, yeah.
And
Right.
for us as b-boys, like we started as like breaking in the 80s and 90s and freestyle dancing. That was our love and appreciation for different music genres, especially when we were dancing. Whether you're at a b-boy jam, they're not just playing hip hop, they're playing songs from Brazil, they're playing samples from from Latin America, so that you can rock and your body's telling you and dictates the pace of whatever it is. And I think that's the reason why we're able to be open-minded to different sounds and not only one demographic.
I think
sure.
that's why you've always been perceived as a pure hip hop act, even though you did a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
It's something like I saw in Wyclef, for example. He did a lot of different stuff, but he was hip hop to the core, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to you with your music. You've always been perceived as a rap group.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's so cool to come up with those names to, you know, the Far Side, stuff like that. It's so important for the culture to expand that and say those names.
Yeah, well, you know, we as LA kids, we were exposed to different hip hop artists, Freestyle Fellowships, Farside, as you
Your
mentioned,
Freestyle Fellowships.
Exhibit, you know,
Yeah.
Dilated Peoples, Jurassic 5. You know, we came up with all of them, Ozo Motley. So for us, we have always been very supportive of the underground hip hop movement that has happened in Los Angeles.
Right, and different genres too, right? Because you just made me realize I spent most of my time when I came to the States in New York, right? But maybe like probably LA's even like it's probably bigger and more. You know, it's got more subgenres of cultures. Like for example, like rock. It's so big in LA, right? So it makes perfect sense that you've mixed those genres together. Like if I'm sure it felt natural to do that, right? Growing up with that musical background. Right?
Yeah, and we, like I said, we travel the world. That's why the blessing of being an international act is you get to be inspired and you get to contribute to whatever is happening around the world. For us, when we did Translation and Elevation, we were inspired by Afrobeat. We were inspired by Urbano Latino, reggaeton, things that were happening with J Balvin, Ozuna, Maluma, you know, all these amazing artists. And we just added the Black Eyed Peas stamp on it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and first time hearing like house music, like Bloody Beetroots, right?
Right.
Yo, they from
Shout out.
Italy.
Oh
Italy.
yeah.
And it's
Shout out.
like, and it was just like instrumental, and right? And for an MC, you're like, ooh, that's like fresh, like beats to rap on, right?
Yeah.
I'm up
Like-
on that, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, how do I rock to that? You know what I mean? And that's what kind of like enticed us with house music. It started from that, you know?
Right.
And then yeah, and yeah, man, from Freestyle Fellowship, you know what I mean? They were like singing, they were like scatting, rapping, and that was like, you know what I mean? That was like another like jazz hip hop mixed together, you know?
Yeah.
Like I love it when Nas was like, yo, I write my lyrics like I'm a jazz musician, because you know if you like listen to
He's
his
improvising
cadence,
stuff.
he's just all over the place, like a
Course,
jazz
course,
musician just
course,
riding
course.
the beat, you know.
Yeah, I think hip hop is probably the most like mixable genre that you know
Yeah.
that we have. It's the most like elastic type of genre that we have, because it's so direct and so, you know, straight up front type of genre that we have. So
Yeah.
and
Speaking of being an international act like you guys have, why do you think it's so uncommon for artists from the US to have such a global vision like you guys have? Like thinking global and mixing stuff and adding genre that are not really from the US and stuff like that.
So I'm gonna jump in first. So our journey as Black Eyed Peas started because our brother came from the Philippines to America, and his international, upbringing, coming from a different country to the U.S., becoming one of the illest MCs, one of the dopest B-boys, taught us that we can think outside of the box. One day we're gonna perform in the Philippines, one day we're gonna perform in Mexico, one day we're gonna perform in Africa, Italy, Paris, Kazakhstan, because we had that mentality since he came from Philippines.
Okay.
So we always knew Black Eyed Peas was an international type of group because we were all multicultural, not like intentionally. It's just that's how we, how it panned out with a blessing, because then we had the ability to see that we wanted to tour the world and not just be only domestic but international.
And you guys were talking about I changed the argument about, because it's interesting to me. You guys were talking about the whole situation with Drake and Kendrick, not to talk about the beef, but to talk about what it represents for the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And what you guys think about the current scene of Los Angeles and what's happening right now.
I mean, that's good. That's good for hip hop, That's what hip hop is. It stems from battling and like, challenging each other. So,
Mm.
and Kendrick is one of those cats, you know what I mean? Just like in a circle, like old school Los Angeles, you just get in the cipher and just start busting. And I thought it was great.
That was beautiful. And we're fans of both. Drake and Kendrick have a space to be able to create their art, and they're all both great at what they do. But the fact that Kendrick was able to unite a whole city, Bloods, Crips, athletes, kids, families, like that was beautiful. That was a beautiful testament to the power of music. And at that moment, I felt like hip hop won. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no shootings, there was no fights. Yes, there was weird stuff that was happening in Canada with people going to Drake's house or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was the moment of that celebration that Kendrick had in Los Angeles taught us a lot about how much hip hop has evolved and how we can unite people through music, just like what we did with Where's the Love. Our song Where's the Love is that song that even to this day, 2024, with all the craziness that's happening around the world, it unifies. And
it's so actual right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so actual right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, still like you don't want to mess with Kendrick.
Yeah,
It seemed
no.
like
Yeah.
seemed like he just had that stuff ready already.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
ready.
Like
He
he was
already
very
had
ready.
like what did the song ready before Drake even
for
dropped
sure,
He was
like-
ready for it. He was ready to jump in. Speaking about LA, what are some like up and coming names which are popping right now in LA? If you know some or like new artists that you want us to suggest to the Italian.
I really like Snow Allegra. She's not hip hop. She's a dope
Oh,
artist.
she's
She's
amazing.
amazing.
She's
She got this
amazing,
Sade-esque vibe, which I appreciate. And I want to shout out J Ray Soul. J Ray Soul's been rocking with us for a while now.
Yeah, of course.
She's part of the live performance with the Black Eyed Peas. She's part of the family, and I want to take time to say thank you guys for supporting the song Mamacita featuring J Ray Soul and Ozuna. That was her first outing for the world to really understand the beauty that is J Ray, because she comes from the Philippines too. So the fact that Apple was able to give her an opportunity, bring her to America.
The voice girl you discovered.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes. So that paying it forward, the way that Apple got the opportunity to come to the States and become the person that he is, it goes to show his humility and his love to be able to always give back. And that's important, man. In the state that we're in, as Black Eyed Peas, we always want to give back to new artists.
Check out Easy Meal. Easy Meal.
He signed to
Eminem.
Andre. Yeah.
A Filipino cat from the Philippines. So
Oh, he's
doing this-
Filipino? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
Easy
yeah.
Meal.
Quello
Yeah.
che
dope.
rappa in filippino nel
Yeah,
disco
yeah,
Miami.
he's dope. Yeah,
Easy
check
Meal,
him out.
yeah.
He's dope. Yeah.
You have J Ray Soul, and then recently, we're in the studio, and I'm glad that some our heroes, Far Side, are back together doing
Oh,
shows.
for real?
Yeah, yeah.
Yo,
They're doing
this is how
shows
we chill
again.
for 90.
Yeah.
No, it's so solo
Oh, that's
pitch. The
also
first time it was
yeah.
drop. The drop, the
Passing me
reverse
by.
video. Dope.
She keep passing me by. Right?
Yeah.
That's so.
Dope.
Yeah.
So they doing a new city? Like they doing new music, recording new music?
I hope so, but they're doing shows.
Okay, just shows for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hip hop is right now at the moment, there's a lot of great things happening. I want to salute all the B-boys and B-girls that will be going to Paris for the first time having breaking in the Olympics.
Olympics.
So salute to the
Oh, that's
B-boys
big.
and B-girls.
Yeah.
They'll
That's
be
big.
rocking, celebrating,
Yes.
representing their countries. For hip-hop, that's big.
That's
For
big
us
for
as
hip-hop.
B-boys that started with our foundation as dancers, as B-boys, the breaking culture has always been part of our DNA. So the fact that we have breaking part of the Olympics, like I want to salute that. Whoever made that happen, thank you. Thank you for
Definitely,
representing the B-boy community.
Definitely big for a culture.
Yes,
too,
sir.
Because it's
Yep.
such a big part of hip hop.
Yep,
in general.
exactly.
So it's
One of the elements.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys. Grazie, Italia, for all the love and support. We're humbled, we're honored, and we appreciate every moment that we get to come to Italy.
No, thank you guys for being here. Truly, truly an honor. So, questi erano i Black Eyed Peas, raga, con noi oggi al link in bio. Continuate a seguirci per un sacco di altre sorprese sul link in bio. Ciao!
Boom.
Frate ho la mappa, ho la blueprint, so chi è il più weak e chi è il più sick. Non sono news, frate dico chi è chi. È il radar del rap bro ogni mercoledì. I nomi, le facce, la scena, le tracce, gli outfit, le scarpe, controllo sti rapper. Ho tutti i cheat code, sto gioco è mio. Vado più a fondo, come un link in bio. Non sai cosa succede? Easy link in bio. Cadi nella mia rete con il link in bio. Russell, Jimmy, Dre, Lior, forse trovi su US con il link in bio.
Link in bio, il podcast di Mondo Marcio da mercoledì a venerdì solo su S.